This is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 347 of the FCPA Compliance Report. The FCPA Compliance Report is sponsored by Advanced Compliance Solutions, which is pleased to announce a new service offering, the Compliance Alliance. It's a three-step process that allows you, your company, and your team a background into compliance in the FCPA so you can more adequately consider how your product or service fits the needs of a Chief Compliance Officer. It includes a compliance boot camp, sponsorship of a compliance podcast series, and in-person compliance training. Interested persons should contact Tom Fox at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. Today I have back with me my good friend and colleague Adam Turteltaub. Adam is with the SCCE. He is the Vice President, Strategic Initiatives and International Programs, and he talks about the 2017 SCCE Compliance and Ethics Institute, which is fastly coming upon us in October 15 through 18 in Las Vegas. We talk about the learning tracks available, ethics risk, case studies, compliance lawyer, multinational, IT compliance, general and hot topics, and advanced discussion groups. We talk about some of the extras or additions to the compliance tracks that you can take advantage of, such as speed mentoring and speed networking. We also talk about the service opportunities that's available. It's a great review of what's coming up. This is what I think to be the top compliance profession and compliance practitioner event annually. It's certainly well worth your while. We expect nearly 2,000 attendees this year, so I hope you will consider joining us at the 2017 SCCE. The FCPA Compliance Report is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, back for another episode of the FCPA Compliance Report. Today returns one of my favorite guests, Mr. Humility, and one of my friends, Adam Turteltaub, Vice President, Strategic Initiatives and International Programs at the SCCE. He is here to talk about the SCCE 2017 Compliance and Ethics Institute, which is literally just around the corner from October 15 to 18th this year. So, Adam, with that very humble introduction, welcome.
Thank you. And as a man who's often said I'm not good enough to have low self-esteem, I really appreciate it.
Well, anyone who's seen you knows you don't have low anything. So there.
That's true.
My tallest friend from Havana. Adam, in the past, we've taken a look at some of the individual breakout sessions and the highlights of each conference. But today I wanted to maybe take a step back and talk about the structure, because many people who come to the SCCE CEI, or the Compliance and Ethics Institute, for the first time really are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed by the number of compliance practitioners. They're overwhelmed by the number of programs and sessions, the different topics. The brochure itself is 35 pages. And so I was wondering if there's a way that they might be able to think through how to at least look at some of the sessions, at least in the context of the different tracks that the conference has. And I was wondering if you might go through each track and talk about what they're really aimed for, what level of compliance, sophistication, or maturity.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. I mean, walking into a meeting with 1,800 plus people, it's definitely a lot. And there's a few things that I think people can do, including the tracks, which I'll get to in a second, to help make it a little more approachable. One of the things that I do suggest, and I know we'll probably talk about later, some of the other things you can do there, is the speed networking on Sunday morning. Don't look at it just as a way to build out a network. It's a good way to quickly have a few friendly faces that you'll have spent a few minutes with, and somebody you'll feel more comfortable talking to during the course of the meeting if you spot them at lunch or whatever, some company. So I do that. But in terms of the tracks, there's a lot of different sessions out there. We try to cover the gamut of compliance and ethics issues. And rather than just plop them on the schedule, what we wanted to do was organize that so that if somebody's got a particular interest in a risk area or an approach, they can then dive deep into that and follow the sessions through. So we've got one that's specifically addressing ethics that goes from start to finish, one on risk, which gets into everything from how you assess risk to certain key risk areas. Case studies are just like it says. Each session there is a case study of how a different compliance program solved a problem. Compliance lawyer is more legal in orientation than the other sessions are. It tends to focus much more on the law rather than what you actually do with it. Multinational international really is looking beyond the U.S. to issues like FCPA, data privacy, various other issues that are global. IT compliance is there for somebody whose main concern is sort of, what am I going to do with all this IT risk that I have, and how do I manage it, whether it's data protection from your company assets or the risk of breaches, whether caused by hackers or employee dopey behavior. The general topics is a catch-all, and then the advanced discussion groups are different. I'll come back to them in a second. Anyway, in terms of how much experience you need to take any of them, they cover the range. There's some stuff that people will find basic and some stuff they'll find advanced. Really, best thought of not so much of how much experience I have in this area, but what is my key area of interest, and do one of these tracks match that. And one of the things I should point out is you don't have to sign up for a track. We do ask when people register to indicate what sessions they're planning on attending. It's not because we're going to hold you to that. It's basically so we can get a good sense of room size, which ones are likely to be more popular than others. And you can always feel free to skip around between the tracks as you go along. Now, one thing I promise to come back to is the advanced discussion groups. Those are very different from the other sessions. For one, they're limited in size to, I think it's 50 people. At that point, we close the door and say, sorry, no more. The person who's there is really not there to be a presenter, but to be a facilitator of conversation, where we take a topic and that person's there to lead you through, or the participants in the session, through a discussion of what that issue is and how to deal with it. We tell the people, please don't produce slides for it, with one exception, or two. One is an introduction slide, and two is questions. And we give the audience members feedback devices so you can answer anonymously when they're asking questions, and to help use that to sort of make the conversation go forward. So they're a really good way to not just learn from someone, but actively participate in a conversation and learn from everyone that's in the room.
So one of the things I struggled with in the advanced discussion groups last year was I inevitably arrived too late. So is there a way to move really from session to session and still be able to make these? Or are the advanced discussion groups so popular you have to leave your session early to get there early?
No, I don't think they're quite that popular yet. And we always do leave breaks between the two sessions. So typically about a half an hour, I believe, for most of them. A couple of them may be a little bit shorter. I'm just eyeballing my own schedule now. But my advice is don't wait. If the session starts at, it's going to start at, say, 2 o'clock that you want to go to, don't show up at 2. Get there at 10 to 2 or a little earlier. You'll still have plenty of time to finish the last session. It probably just means a little less time to drink that soda and eat that giant cookie that you were going to regret eating later anyway.
I love that. You even threw in some free gratuitous guilt. Very good. The beatings will stop when the morale improves. I like that idea. Right. For Compliance and Ethics Institute. Let me pick up on your remarks really around speed networking on Sunday, because I want to pair it with speed mentoring and really throw out another reason that I think every attendee should go to these. In addition to networking, obviously, it provides you a chance to do that, and mentoring also allows you the opportunity to seek out someone who perhaps could mentor you. But I found, Adam, that they're incredibly useful for other reasons, such as even if you just have a question, you're struggling with one part of a compliance program, the way the SCCE puts people together, you can pair up with someone who may know more than you or may have a specialization in one specific topic, and you can get a direct really focused question answered, or at least present to someone for continued dialogue both at the conference and thereafter. So there are lots of different reasons to utilize both of those, and I found them to be incredibly enjoyable experiences, but frankly, I also learned a lot.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's funny on the speed mentoring, one of the most consistent comments we get afterwards from the people who sign up to be mentors is that the people that are the mentees know as much, if not more, than they do.
Right.
And I encourage everyone to try and sign up for that. It's free for anyone who's signed up for the meeting, but there is a separate registration where, Tom, as you indicated, the participants should indicate what it is that their areas of interest are. That way, to the best that we can, we pair you with somebody else who either has the expertise you're looking for or is looking, if you're a mentor, for the expertise that you have to give. But you raised a really good issue there is it's really not just about what you accomplish in the room for that hour. It's really about what you do thereafter. One of the things that drives me a little crazy about that is people absolutely love those sessions. They're incredibly loud with everyone talking at the same time. People are having a great time. There's smiles in the room all around. But then I'll ask people who participated in it, did you love it? Yeah, it was great. It was the best part of the meeting. Did you follow up with anybody you met? And then there's dead silence.
Right.
Take advantage of it. Compliance people are very good to each other. They're willing to share wisdom. They're not shy about that, and people do it. You hear it all the time in the halls. But take advantage of this as somebody that afterwards, so that 3 months from now, when you're sitting in your office and an issue comes up, you got another compliance officer now that you can call and say, hey, this thing just came up in my office. What would you do? Or this is what I'm planning on doing. Do you think there's some risk there? That's a terrific resource to have. And really, whether you sign up for speed networking or speed mentoring, that's really what you're laying the groundwork for.
So there's a couple of evening events that I'd like to ask you about, Adam. They are on Monday and Tuesday night. Or perhaps it's Sunday.
Sunday and Monday.
Sunday and Monday, where it's basically a kind of a cocktail party, get together in the exhibit hall. People wear sports jerseys or other casual wear. And
we've got. Yeah, and I don't think we have a theme this year. Yeah, so we have all the breaks, during the day. But the idea of the opening reception is as people arrive, gives them a chance to say hello to each other, catch up with old friends, spend some time with the exhibitors too. And really, it's a great way to get the networking started and really reconnect with others in the compliance community, and to start practicing reading badges as you pass people and as you see them. And start trying to figure out, is this somebody who there's a connection with, whether they're in my town or they're my industry or some industry where maybe you want to learn something from. Monday night is different. We do have a reception, but then that's followed by our International Compliance and Ethics Awards dinner, which takes place immediately afterwards from 7 to 9. It's free for anyone who's attending the meeting, though we do ask you to sign up again so we know how many people are there and order the right amount of food and have the right amount of seats. The actual presentation of the award winners is great time to recognize people who've made a contribution to the profession and a substantial one. And also, I should point out, it's not a long presentation. The whole thing takes only about 30 minutes. So it's not as if you're signing up for a banquet where you're going to listen to 2 hours worth of speeches. And inevitably, there is dancing led by Joe Murphy immediately thereafter. So it's a fine time to relax at the end of the day, too.
I'd like to feature, have a discussion about one of the things that I'm not sure how many years ago it started, but it's the silent auction to benefit America's Fund. And it's become hugely popular, both for people like me and others who would make a donation, but also for people like me who want to buy some of the silent auction items. I bought one that your brother donated once, stood there and outbid whoever got around me with some pretty sharp elbows. But nevertheless, could you tell us a little bit about what America's Fund is and how the SCCE auction works for it?
Yeah, it all actually started on a sad note with Kim Lansford, who's now the Chief Compliance Officer, I think, for the University of Pennsylvania Health Systems, or Penn State Health System, I'm sorry, one of the two. But her son was serving in the military, got badly injured, and they had to run out to Germany where he was being treated to see him. There's a lot of needs not only for the injured servicemen, but also for their families. And what America's Fund did was help Kim and her family deal with what happened to Justin and help him get back to work, to heal, and to continue living his life, and for them to continue living theirs. So it was something that not only touched a member of the community, but it really, I think, touched a lot of people too, as they hear the stories and the work that America's Fund did. So what we do every year is we ask people to contribute something for the silent auction. Tom, you, I know, have collected a lot of sports memorabilia and donated a great deal of that. My brother, for those of you who don't know, my brother directed National Treasure and a bunch of other films, and he donated, I think you bought was it the National Treasure script?
The script
that he had signed?
Signed script, yes.
Yeah. So people donate various things, and then there's an opportunity to bid on it. It's fun. It can be vicious if several people want the same thing. It's also very interesting to see the range of skills that compliance professionals have. Roy Snell, our CEO, makes some amazing vintage-looking mirrors and picture frames and other things. One of my colleagues, Margaret Dragon, makes these beautiful baskets. Sean DeGroat, who's active in the association, makes jewelry. I mean, it's incredible what they have. And then people put together gift baskets and other things. So it's a great way to support a good cause, maybe find a bargain for yourself, and participate in really a great added thing for the meeting.
And Adam, as we are near the end of our time, I was wondering if you just might be able to highlight some of this year's keynotes.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a really interesting lineup. First of all, Marjorie Doyle, who I think everyone in compliance has come to know at least a little bit, is going to speak about her career as an ethics and compliance professional and the key takeaways from it. And I should point out, this is not a valedictory for her. She is still actively working and teaching on the academies. We also have Eugene Soltis, who's a Harvard Business School professor and the author of the book, Why They Did It, Inside the Minds of White-Collar Criminal. And he's going to share what he's learned from his conversations with a huge number of white-collar felons, from notables like Bernie Madoff to others. We also have Liz Weissman speaking, who's talking about multiplying. Her whole approach is teaching people how to get maximum impact by getting others to carry your message forward. And that's a critical message for people in compliance, where really, again, we're not the ones who make the compliant or non-compliant decisions. It's others, but our job is to help them make the right choice. And then we also have Mark Lannerman, who's the Chief Technology Officer from a company called Computer Forensic Services, who's going to give a talk about cyber risk. And frankly, it's I've seen him talk before, and he's amazing. He goes on the dark web, shows how easy it is for criminals to get credit card information, and also exposes how much web-based things are supposed to be private but aren't. I've seen him go onto websites of public utilities where the controls are for power systems, and those supposedly are protected, but they're wide open for any hacker to get to.
I've seen that presentation. It's quite alarming. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's quite alarming, and it does beg the question if you're a compliance officer and you've got systems and your IT people say they're safe and secure, to ask the question or say, prove it to me, or bring in somebody to take a look and see if they can get into them too.
Well, being from California, you could simply channel your inner Ronnie Reagan and say, trust but verify.
Exactly. And so those are the general sessions. Got a wide range of things, a ton of people coming. The numbers are up versus last year significantly. And I was actually just looking at the list today, and we've got 130 attendees coming from outside the U.S., and they're from 34 different countries, ranging from, believe it or not, Afghanistan to Uruguay.
Wow, that's fabulous, Adam. Simply fabulous. I really hope I can meet some of our foreign guests because they really are on the cutting edge and front lines of compliance in many ways.
Absolutely.
So, Adam, if anyone wanted more information on this year's Compliance and Ethics Institute, could you tell them where they might go?
Yeah, the best thing to do is on the web. It's just complianceethicsinstitute.org. All the information is there. You can download the brochure, flip through the agenda, get all the information you need. And one piece of advice is if you are going to come, make sure you book your hotel room promptly. A lot of times the hotel room block gets booked, so make sure you book early so you can stay at Caesar's Palace and don't have to deal with those long Las Vegas walks.
As someone who travels to Las Vegas, there's plenty of hotels around Caesars, unlike many other venues. Nevertheless, it's great to be at Caesars. So I've been visiting with Adam Turteltaub, the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and International Programs at the Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics. We've been talking about the 2017 SCCE Compliance and Ethics Institute, which will be held October 15 to 18th at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. It is probably, in my mind, the top compliance profession-related event each year. I urge you to attend if you have any interest in the compliance profession. It's a fabulous conference. It's the lowest price of any conference. I stay at Caesars Palace as often as I can, and that's a wonderful venue. And more than that, it's really great comradeship about the compliance profession. So, Adam, thank you for taking the time to visit with me, and I look forward to seeing you at this year's CEI. This is Tom Fox again. I'd like to thank you for listening to this episode of the FCPA Compliance Report. On a very personal note, I would like to thank everyone who reached out to me during Hurricane Harvey, asking about my family, myself, and my house, wishing us good luck, well wishes, and offering for help. It was just really an outpouring of support and affection that was frankly overwhelming, given the circumstances that we were all in. The city of Houston is beginning to get back to normal, and although my neighborhood is still flooded out till the bayou, our house didn't sustain any major damage. So thanks again to everyone. I greatly appreciate it. I've never asked for any donations on this podcast, but I would, given the devastation to Houston and greater South Texas and Louisiana, if you would make a donation to the charity of your choice for the Hurricane Harvey victims, I would greatly appreciate it. And once again, it would be with my most heartfelt thanks. This is Tom Fox. You've been listening to another episode of the FCPA Compliance Report, a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. Thank you.